everyone, and welcome to another episode of From No Crypto to No Crypto. I'm your host, the Crypto Coach, Blockchain Wayne. Today we're joined by Sam Drissi. Sam, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Wayne. Really happy to be here.
Glad to have you, man. You and I met a while back, right? We met in Miami quite a few months back, met again in Miami just recently, and wanted to get you on the podcast to talk about all the great things you're doing. I know we're going to jump into BipQuantum, Flip-Flop Launchpad, and really some other things that you're diving into right now. But before we jump into those current things, tell us a little bit about your background, kind of what you've done in the past and what led you into the blockchain ecosystem, I guess you could say.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you again for this opportunity, Wayne. Always a pleasure to connect. So I jumped in blockchain since more than 10 years now. I focus in intellectual property, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm a creative. And I was always persuaded by the IP management, right? So I was looking for a solution to make intellectual property traceable and, of course, verifiable. And since early stage, like some OGs, I explored Bitcoin. And after MIT launched the first way to use the blockchain base for timestamp, so we explored it and I pushed it. And since then, my mission is, since more than 10 years now, is make intellectual property accessible to everyone. It's a big fight. It's not easy, but yeah, I'm proudly blockchain optimist, and I believe in what we're doing with crypto and blockchain, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're kind of like me, right? 10 years ago, you saw the technology, and I don't know about for you, but for me, it was basically, I mean, obviously I jumped in Bitcoin for the money, right? I need to throw some money into something to make some money. And then you study the technology and you're like, holy crap, this has a lot of potential. So what else did you see when you were first like 10 years ago, right? You were looking at, say, Bitcoin and this emerging of what we call now blockchain technology. So obviously you saw the potential right away of IP. Is that how it worked?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, of course, I was, let's be honest, like, of course, the new financial era with Bitcoin since the white paper in 2008, of course, it's a game changer, and jumping on it because, with all my respect, and I think I'm not alone, I don't believe in the conventional financial system and how society is guiding us to be existing as a human and evolving as a human. But this is another debate. Right. So the blockchain technology, I start with the Bitcoin stamp. You know, it's a way different from the new Bitcoin stamp we're having today. And, you know, in the past, people, they sent to themselves a postman letter to prove, for example, Wayne is the owner of this algorithm, created this day, this hour, this minute, this second. So the timestamp 24/7 with blockchain, public blockchain, is the first traction we took to use it as an IP certification. And then we evolve after that, step by step, of course.
Yeah, that's an amazing take on it, because I think about it, and funny enough, the first use case I saw outside of money when I was looking at Bitcoin and some of these early NFTs that were coming out right before anybody was even talking about NFTs. And immediately for me, not my background, my history as a kid growing up, I collected sports cards. I still have boxes.
Likewise, man.
Sports cards, right? And then, for one, there was rarity. There's all the different things. And I hate it when I had a really good card that the corner would get bent or just a little bit of imperfection, and it makes it an issue. And I was like, man, if we can make that digital, that would be great, because I understood that. Like, it's not so much that piece of cardboard had no value. It's what was on it that created rarity, and the same thing with NFTs. And so and there's some overlap there too, right? You're talking about the timestamps, so you can even verify when something was created, when something was done. And so you were in the IP space before you got into blockchain, into Bitcoin?
I switched to IP since a lot of frustration, because I co-create 12 company, and one of the company is focusing creativity. And I realized it's really hard to certify your creativity. And it's super easy to be plagiarized. Like, people, they take your content online, they use it. You send a preview to a client about whatever, graphic design. He uses it without your permission. Right. He can do nothing in reality, except spending a lot of money going through conventional copyright office, generating the certification, and sue him, which is, honestly, I figure out, is not aligned with our reality. No. Right? So I started talking to IP lawyers, and IP lawyers focus more in patenting than copywriting. So copyright based in Berne Agreement in 1886, whatever what you create, you are the owner of it. It's universal.
Right.
So go to prove it, right? It's hard. Patenting, there is more money. Why? Patenting means an IP expert have to go through Google Patent or USPTO to verify it's a real innovation or not, what we name art research. So I realize this ecosystem, super old, have to be disrupted,
Right.
exclusive with the technology today. So, yeah. So I work with patent lawyers, but I'm not a lawyer, but I'm passionate by that. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and really, when you talk about that, the old system for that, and then the process of somebody like plagiarizes or rips you off. I mean, there's really only one winner in that whole situation, and it's the attorneys, right? The attorneys that make all the money. And I think, and it sounds like IP is very much like many other industries, to where we're trying to move from old technology and new technology, but the only people that benefit from the old technology are the gatekeepers, the ones that just kind of, they basically control access and everything related to that, and then exploit the system too, right? That's whether you look at the current financial system, which we all looked at. You're right. I mean, I agree. When I looked at Bitcoin, the first thing I saw was, holy crap, I don't understand Bitcoin yet, but our financial system is really screwed up. Like, I never looked into it before. I never really, most of us just go through the early parts of our life and don't even think about, where does money come from? How is it created? What does that economy look like? Why can't we just endlessly print money? Like, what are the ramifications
Yes.
of that? And when you really understand that, and I went through a history of the Federal Reserve and our banking systems, and I was like, oh my God, we're we're in trouble. And technology gives us a way to exploit that. I mean, to stop the exploitation of that. So, man, jumping into next, let's jump into BipQuantum. Let's talk about that for a little bit. You and I were talking right before I hit record, and
Yes.
BipQuantum's blockchain IP. And so, obviously, I'm sure it's a solution to the existing problems, right? The making probably things easier, more accessible, more transparent. So tell us a little bit about BipQuantum and what you've done there so far.
Sure. Yes. So before BipQuantum, I built Artisu. It's today 100% free platform. And of course, the idea is to generate a proof of ownership. So how to prove, for example, Wayne is the owner of this creation, right? This IP. So any idea is the base of IP, but idea is not an asset. But as soon as you start creating a draft in a paper, it start being an IP. So
Right.
the essence of an idea is the intellectual property, just to clarify the first point.
Okay.
So the first step was Artisu, right? It's 100% free, giving 100 free certificate. We are open sourcing it today with Linux Foundation. I strongly believe in open source space.
Absolutely.
And from that, the platform gives you the ability to generate on-chain and off-chain IP certificate. And we develop plagiarism detection. We are not checking, scrapping metadata, but more Web2 data. So image or IP, text published online, you can be alerted automatically if someone copy you. And surprisingly, like some computer like Pixies looking for making the lawyer suing the plagiarize, our mission is more focusing in collaboration, because sometimes you find a copier and then, oh, wow, okay, we can collaborate together. So this is the way of this first philosophy of Artisu. Then realize it's not enough. People are intimidated by IP. And like you said, to give you a number, a patent lawyer, an IP expert is average $570 an hour. My goodness, like,
Yeah.
man, if I would like to use IP as an elevator, it's a lot of money. So we decide to train with BipQuantum an AI based in US copyright as a proof of data. So the difference with BipQuantum versus GPT, Gemini, or name it, instead of finding fake or global information, the proof of data, which is the Bible, is from US copyright, right? So it can give you advices, give you strategy. And from that, of course, we make the consultation to certification to minting and sell your IP as easy as buying an IP and selling an IP, like an e-commerce article on Amazon.
Okay.
This is the cycle.
Well, it streamlines the process and saves that that person that's creating that IP from having to pay that $570 an hour, right?
Exactly. Yes, the consultation part also. Yeah.
Gotcha. So outside of, I mean, obviously, when I think about this, you think of like art, design, and maybe electronic devices. So, what other kind of users are you seeing that are coming to BipQuantum, or even if they're not coming yet, they're perfect to drive them to your platform?
Thank you for your question. Actually, what we're doing with the strategy, we're splitting between copyright and patenting. So art is you with a new variant, the non-fungible copyright. So how to make copyright liquid. It's focusing on copywriting, music, art, design, name it. The BipQuantum is evolving for the non-fungible patent. It's more innovation and invention. So patents mean, as I said earlier, we need to check if it's real innovation or not, what we named art research, what is the category, and then data about the market, right? So today you can sell a pre-patent or non-fungible patent as is in the marketplace, but the ambition is to give you the ability to raise money selling a fraction of your IP.
Oh, okay.
Right? So let's say you have this decentralized application or app, and you are looking for $500,000. So you can fractionize 20% of your IP. People will invest on it as a crowdfunding infrastructure, so there is no guarantee of return on investment. And if you succeed tomorrow, let's say, I don't know, Microsoft buy you out, for example, to give a name, me as an investor, or all of us as investors, we can get our money back, right? So this is where we're going.
Okay, nice. Yeah. So it's mainly, so it's not on the use. So if I have an IP and I have a company and I'm leveraging that IP to make money, um, that person that owns part of the IP, do they get any shares from that, or it's mainly just when the IP is sold?
Yes, this is the right question. Thank you so much for asking. So there's a difference between having a shares of a company
Right.
versus an IP, a fraction of IP. So the shares of a company, let's say you invest in a company and they had really bad management, you lose all your money. Having a fraction of IP, the IP can survive because this IP can be bought by another investor and they start over. So you still have a fraction of it, which means you have rights. You cannot use it at all because you have only a fraction. You don't have the complete IP.
Right.
So this is, in my opinion, the future of investment and the future of like asset shares, like one fraction of IP at a time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I mean, I've seen that happen where brands have gone out, have gone out of business, and then you see a reemergence of the same name. And what happened was it's not the same company. Someone bought the IP.
Exactly.
They're leveraging, like I think of Bed Bath and Beyond, the company name, right? I mean, that kind of,
Good point.
they went out of business, and you saw it reemerge online as someone bought the rights to that because it's a globally recognized brand, and it could be really anything. That's interesting to hear because one thing we do. So one of the companies I work with, Bluebird, is we focus on asset tokenization, and IP is one that we haven't done yet, but we've actually, it's kind of when I going through a list of what could be fractionalized and tokenized. That's one aspect of it, to where it could create like a marketplace to where someone could tokenize. We've mainly done like some real estate, some energy
How was the
assets.
experience with tokenization so far with your project?
So let me tell you. So luckily, our CEO Corey is very well versed in tokenization. I mean, I've been in this space for 10 years. I've been teaching people about crypto for over for 10 years now. But asset tokenization is completely different from crypto, right? In general, because it's basically merging that old world with the new, right? How do you merge that asset? But it creates so much capability in terms of, like, if I tokenize a piece of real estate, right, and that's an investment property, then the way it improves the existing system is, one, it gives access to more people to invest. You can make the investment size smaller, so it's lower barrier of entry. But then also it takes an illiquid asset and makes it liquid. Say you have an investment property that you invest in, unless that property is income producing and you have some sort of agreement on the income, you can't really realize a profit until it sells again, right? But
True.
with fractionalization, you can exit at any point, to where I can sell my share to someone else through a token marketplace, and now I've realized my gains, or I've gotten out, and I can put that money into other capital. And it seems like the same thing when it comes to IP. I think IP, I mean, actually probably has more potential, because obviously people like to think of physical assets like real estate or gold or whatever, and yeah, it's easy to think of, but IP is you're investing in the future of that concept, that idea, right? And we all see things that we use every day, right? Different inventions and stuff. Like, man, I wish I had a piece of that when it came out. Oh, I thought about something like that early on, but I didn't have the money to get it to market. Well, someone else does. You can see that and invest in that. So definitely, it makes. I mean, I think tokenization is the future. We're going to see. I mean, our current stock markets, whether in the U.S. or other countries, are antiquated in the way they work behind the scenes. So
Yes.
tokenization there is going to be big. Um, real estate tokenization can be big, whether it's whole properties or fractionalized parts of property. Like my house could be, I can own the whole, all the shares of the house. Or if somebody wanted to invest in the future of my house, right, I could sell token, right? I could. So instead of
Exactly.
being in debt to, say, a bank, I'm in debt. I've got token holders, and so when you sell a house, whatever you owe left on the house, you pay the bank back, and then you keep the extra. Whatever share is owned by investors, they get a piece of it. So it could be a path to home ownership, a lot better than a 50-year mortgage, right?
Absolutely, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah. When I heard them talking about the 50-year mortgage, I'm like, well, it's basically just like glorified renting, like because you're not getting any equity really, unless the
It's
property
true.
goes up, and that's a hope. And at least when you rent a property and something breaks, it's the responsibility of the landlord. But
Yes.
you got a 50-year mortgage, you're not only not getting any equity, just like when you rent, but you also have to fix all the things that go wrong with it.
Absolutely.
So, that's
Yeah.
definitely something, and IP, that's something I'd love to see kind of go down the path of being able to really help people understand that and do that. So you're doing great work. And simplifying the process is one, and that's one thing. Like even like crypto and blockchain in general is very complicated. Yeah, you can admit that, right? 10 years ago, user interfaces are not very friendly. Nobody was worrying about the user experience.
True.
Uh,
True.
you know,
Yes.
and you want that just like set up I used to tell somebody set up a MetaMask wallet or I've got friends that have Ledger wallets that have never even they're still in the box because they've been too intimidated to set them up. Uh, but we've got to make it easier, and I love what you're doing because it's basically showing taking a problem that already exists prior to Bitcoin and blockchain and everything else, and making it simpler and easier for people, which is lowering the barrier of entry. That's what we should see more of. I don't know about you. You invest a lot in the market too.
Absolutely. And I lost a lot also, like a lot of, like everyone, right? It's,
Yeah, I mean, there's
yeah.
some the ups are great, the downs are bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Right now, I mean, Bitcoin's sitting at 89,000, and now hindsight is, 10 years ago when Bitcoin was under $1,000. Hey, it's great where we are, but you think, oh man, like just a few weeks ago it was 125, but we've seen these drawdowns before, and we got it. But we have to. I want more people to realize it's more than just speculation. Like we got to focus on real utility. Right, Bitcoin is money. There's a few other projects that are focused solely on solving the monetary issue, but there's so
Yes.
much else to solve. IP rights, and it's something I never thought of with IP before. So actually this year I had to miss it because I was out of town. But 2 years prior, there's a music conference that's in New Orleans every year called NOLA Musicon.
Okay.
And last year and the year prior, I was the only Web3 guy there talking to them about leveraging, crypto Web3, mainly for distribution, right? Because record labels charge a lot. And if you could create a fan base of like, say, 500 to 1,000 true fans that maybe spend $5 to $10 a month on stuff that you create, then you can, that can sustain someone versus most musicians are basically working other jobs during the week so they can play music at night and on the weekends.
Yes.
Um, but never really thought about it from the IP's perspective as well, too.
Yes, absolutely. No, and thank you for bringing that because it's a lot of education. And Wayne, it's if we keep repeating exactly the same process, whatever in creativity and commercialization and licensing, we're gonna get exactly the same shitty result. Excuse my language. So the idea is to make people think out of the box. How today giants like Adobe and all the software we're paying today, like GPT and name it, they make money. They make money with SaaS, software as a service, with non-commercial use. If we think like that, whatever what we create, excuse it, digitally here, we can generate a profit horizontally with specific geolocalization, and specific case of usability. So let's take a practical case. So let's say I created this design to make it simple. And this design can serve for gamification, for meta use. I can give license for physical reproduction with specific tools like paper, whatever, metal for phone cases, right? And virtual reproduction. So each license is one asset. And for each asset, I can give different geolocalization assets. So you have the permission to use it in South Africa, you have permission to use it in Europe, in Paris. So you see, if we open our mind about the impact of IP, then we realize how the IP licensing in 2023 brought more than $100 billion revenue. So these billionaires, they keep making money using conventional system, and this system have to be disrupted today.
Right.
Because IP is not following the evolution of technology. So I strongly believe for the next 2 years, you're going to see crazy evolution exclusively today. You can vibe code whatever you want. There's a lot of that. There are applications. We can build what we want. And blockchain gives us the way and the freedom to build the new way to produce and to consume technology, right? So, man, I'm excited by the future for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's safe to say it's definitely accelerating, at a faster rate, because it's every day. It seems like new things are coming out. So the other aspect of, using your platform to protect IP, it's also monetizing your IP to areas you wouldn't have before, right? So being able, because like say I wanted to use something, I say, oh wait, this guy Sam owns the IP to that, I can't use it. There'd be some sort of a marketplace where I could get access to that. I can, do a collaboration instead of, I just either I do it and hope, he's on another side of the world or another country or another state doesn't find out, or I can collaborate with them. And it's a lot more beneficial for the IP owner to maximize the use of that IP instead of just saying it's mine and mine alone. Nobody else can use it. Or like you said, like for different countries, right? Issuing it for different countries. And blockchain is perfect for that because it gives you that timestamp of who did it, when they did it, what time, what date, 24 hours a day, doesn't matter.
That is a good use case for one of your projects. Can we talk about your wallet project?
Yeah.
So your wallet project today, if you see other wallets, just to brainstorm with you, other wallet projects, so they build a wallet, they said, okay, it's for, let's say this is for North American market, I keep it like this, thank you, goodbye. But if you change the way to develop it and you said, this is the technology, proven technology, this is our value, and if you'd like to develop it, let's say for Central Africa, I can give you the license to do it and give you the equipment, which means this is wallet, South Africa, licensing use for 2 years. And of course, there's specific KPIs because you are requesting a certain result. So again, if you negotiate exclusivity versus non-exclusivity, the price is different. Right. So your wallet become not only a huge asset because you can sell this beautiful technology in different jurisdictions. So if you start thinking like that, my goodness, Wayne, I think people, they don't realize the return on investment we can get using the IP strategy.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. I mean, most people don't think about that. They think create a product, sell it, and protect it.
Exactly.
Right? And
that's true.
That's the extent of it. So absolutely. So Sam, let's jump into tell me a little bit about so you mentioned Flip Flop Launchpad too. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So Flip Flop, it's a really exciting project. I co-created this project with a Hong Kong-based VC and amazing team. And the ambition is to build real fair launch. As a blockchain optimist and crypto optimist, I think you and I, we understand what we're talking about. We saw the Polka starter of this world. We saw a lot of launch pads, and it's always buy and dump challenges with bots. I launched a token a couple of years ago, and I was, my goodness, super stressed to fight all these scams and bots. So FlipFlop built the proof of mint. This is the first protocol to make sure there is unique referral link. If you have to buy it, you need to be identified by me, which is reducing the bots. there is anti-DDoS attack, there is anti-bots, and they have graduation process, which means, let's say you launch your token, and before graduating, investors, they have to mint your token to get your soft cap. If you get your soft cap, you can go to graduated, and then your token go through a DEX, right, or a SEX in the future. So this process make a big difference, and I launched Artisu for Asia token, which is a token backed by IP, which is the first IP token. And my mission for this launchpad is to build the IP launchpad with them, because there is many tokens, right? You have the KOL of this world, you have the simple meme, and you have hybrid tokens like IP token we are pushing. And I realized something, Wayne. First of all, Asia is impressive. Investment wise, if we compare Asian investors versus North American investors like us, they are way more aggressive. They can take more risk. They are open to explore. They are less conservative than us.
All right.
And this is something really impressive. The second thing I realized with this launchpad that can bring opportunity to North American to launch their token for Asian community, which is like, let's be honest, it's a difficult way to go through Asia, right, and launch the token. And the third level now, what we try to do is to negotiate with lawyers to find a way, because SEC and Canadian regulators are super conservative again. I know this year we had the chance with Trump movement, but the regulators are still too difficult today.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way to help North American invest or launch their tokens through this launchpad, respecting the regulation at the same time. So this is the global point about FlipFlop.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, I've helped with a few token launches along the way in terms of planning out, and man, launch pads it's just basically a pump and dump. You pair that with bad tokenomics, and it's a recipe for disaster. I've seen really good projects, right? You take the token out of play and you just look at the technology they built, and it's like, this is amazing. But the token just killed it, you know?
Yes.
I guess an example that most people, or at least most people in crypto know, I give and it wasn't really necessarily Launchpad, but it was just the tokenomics when you think about ICP, Internet Computer Protocol.
Yes.
I'd say if you were to take like the top projects, not on price, just based on functionality, utility, and things that have been built out, they're in that top percentile. But you know, I mean, they had a lot of early investors. They launched at a really crazy. I mean, they went all the way up to like $600-700 and all the way down to a few bucks, you know, over the last what do you call that, 7 or 8 years. And I was just thinking, I was like, yeah, I think they're around $6 or $7 today, probably.
I think so. Yeah, I did not check, but yeah, the BipQuantum is built under ICP, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, see, I mean, there's so much utility there, and that's just one example that you know, that is a problem. When I was helping this last project kind of vet some launch pads, it was basically, I felt like I was warning them to stay away from so many, more than I was recommending ones to work with. I was basically warning who to stay away from, just because of, you know, reputation, not fair launches.
Yes.
You know, just
I hear you totally. Yeah. And it's good you're talking about that, Wayne, because the first challenge we have, there is many things. You said something super important. You said how we interact today with blockchain and crypto have to be different. And for sure, it will be different. I know a lot of blockchain optimists, they hate listening to that, but there is a Web2 standard.
Right.
If you are looking for mass adoption, we need to change totally the way how we set up a wallet. Of course, thankfully, there is a custodial wallet, and we built one of the first custodial wallet in the past through a simple Gmail account, but there is always challenges security-wise. So the day where we don't see blockchain, right, that's the best day to get adoption. And I think a lot of developers today and founders, with all my respect, of course, I made exactly the same mistake, focus too much on technology than adoption. So, and the second challenge I would say is how to market your technology, because it's really feasible today technically to build one of the best technology with the best user interface, user experience. Doesn't mean you're going to succeed.
Right.
So adoption is another challenge, and marketing, no secret. I would say it's more than today. Let's say Lovable, one of the vibe coding platform.
Oh, yeah. Love
It's
it. Yeah.
50% of investment is in marketing,
Yeah.
right? So the hype is marketing, right? So I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have the best technology in the world. Nobody's using it. It's not really worth anything.
Exactly.
And that's, yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen because we've seen the mix, right? We've seen these projects that have um, amazing technology, but they don't know how to market. So they can't bring, people they can't build a community or a following or user base. And so amazing technology, it just withers, it can wither and die. And the other
Yes.
side, we see these projects that have zero utility. They're all just hype, but they're really good at community building and marketing. And you've got to find that balance, almost whether you call it the yin and the yang, or just that zen, where it's like you got to have the right mix of great technology, simple technology to use, and then community. Uh,
Yes.
but yeah, and that's the thing. I always go back, and I don't even have an iPhone. Like I use Samsung, but I tell people, why do you think iPhone is the number one phone in the world? In terms, Apple is so good at what they do. They don't. Yeah, it could be amazing tech, but the simplicity, like just the ability to just start using something and figure it out, it's super simple. It's funny enough. Not too long ago, I convinced my dad to start using. Well, this was several years ago now. They got a Samsung for a while, and immediately they eventually just went back to iPhone because that was what they knew. It was comfortable, um, and that's important. And even back to the thing you mentioned about the wallet, custodial wallets. Now, if you'd have talked to me 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, I'm hardcore. Everybody needs non-custodial wallet. They need to control their own assets. But the more you think about it, not everybody is prepared for that.
No.
My same thing. Go back to my dad. My dad, for instance, is more at risk of losing his funds by being in a non-custodial wallet that he doesn't do the right thing with the seed phrase or click on the wrong thing, versus it's on a Coinbase and at least he has support to help him if something happens.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, we learn from our mistakes. Yeah, I'm one of those putting all my money in Quadriga CX and other exchanges. I lost all of them, but at the end of the day, there is no secret. Any revolution needs three stages, right? And I think this we are in the right stage between um, it's dangerous to it's evident, right? So the first stage never gonna work, like Idris Aberkan said. The second stage they said, "Oh, it's dangerous," and then they said, "It's evident." We're between both, I
Yeah,
would say. Yeah, there is still
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And just to touch real quick on, you mentioned custodial wallets, right? I don't know how your custodial wallet is, but there could be, and it's kind of like a hybrid I've seen lately, working with some different companies on the tokenization side. Because think about it, if you invest in real estate or you own a whole property that's been tokenized and you lose your access to your wallet, what happens then, right?
Good point. Good
And
point.
so there's kind of a mix to where you could have a custodial wallet to where if you lose access to it, there's the ability for that custodian to help you restore access without them being able to access your private keys. Basically, like a restore key, a pass key, or something that almost like taking whether it's multi-sig technology or something else to where okay, if you lose access to it, that you can go through steps to help you recover it without that entity being able to just access your wallet and take your funds.
This is super important. Good point. You're totally right. There's always risk in all technology, but you're totally
Yeah,
right. This is a strong point. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that.
So that's kind of one of those things where, like I said, I used to be hardcore, not your keys, not your crypto, which I still am when people are capable, right? But
Yes.
also to understanding risk to where, okay, maybe you don't need that. And there's got to be some in between there, especially if you're no longer just holding crypto tokens in your wallet, if you've got using it to access your IP, using it to access
Yes.
your investments elsewhere, the ownership of your real property that you have physical ownership of.
Yes.
Because I see a day where just any ownership records, it just makes sense to move them on chain instead of being in these fragmented, centralized servers in different government entities or different um, institution entities, to where it's like it's accessible to where you can show proof of ownership without relying on some server going down. And I've seen that before where it's like I was trying to access something from a bank record so I could move something over, and Their server was down. Guess what? No business on that thing.
It's always the same story, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, and I love what we talked about today because it's not just about blockchain for speculation and investment. It may start there, and everybody's interest usually starts there, but it's all the different processes and systems that we can improve for the everyday person. And some of those processes and systems are going to be fought by the legacy systems because they have a financial stake in keeping things
Yes,
the way they are. Um,
yes,
no different than the medical industry today. I mean, people are starting to realize the power of natural supplement, natural ingredients, and pharmaceutical industries are trying to suppress that because they make their bread and butter is made whenever they're selling you prescriptions. So it's the same concept when it comes to blockchain. You think about IP, real estate records, even stock trading as well. That's I think we could also see stock markets become very more robust when it's tokenized and there's 24-hour trading. Because I don't know if you pay attention to
100%.
stock. I mean, what happens when the stock market gets really volatile? They'll pause freezing. I mean, they'll pause trading, right? They'll freeze it, and so it's interesting now to where you can you could see that, and Bitcoin trades 24/7 no matter what. There's been a lot of volatility in it, but out of that, it gives more of a free market than just okay, let's manipulate it. It's too
That's
crazy.
true.
Right? Let's just not let anybody trade it for a little while. That whole
That's true.
and it's all
That's
about
true.
access. More people need access to more things. I think, and with what you're doing, I've actually said this before with technology is there's so many great ideas throughout the world, and most of them they get buried in the graveyard with the person whose head they were in, right? Because they never have the tools or the access to capital or anything to bring something to market. You know, cryptocurrency, digital technologies, digital currencies that can work globally, give them access to capital. And the other thing, like you're talking about, IP is okay. I've got this amazing idea. I can I can bring it, without having to spend a fortune. I can lock in my IP, and then I can also decide how do I want to partner with others. Um, so,
Exactly. And I think there is other potential, Wayne. We talk a lot today about stable coins, right?
yeah,
And the principle behind Bitcoin, as a lot of Bitcoin optimists, is the idea is to calculate a value next to the gold. And we know, like since Reagan changed the rules and the US dollar is backed by US reputation and not anymore the gold valuation, I think a lot of people are aware.
yeah,
Um, in the future, what I believe, we can get a stability with a token backed by intellectual property. To
yeah,
give you a tangible example, let's say we have a young Nikolai Tesla in his garage reinventing the way to get clean tech without being deleted by lobbies,
right,
and he succeed. And this token is protected and listed under an IP token that can bring real value behind the token.
yeah,
And that will reduce the speculation because this token can build the future of DeFi, where I can say, listen, I have 20% of this amazing technology today used by IBM, or this medicine curing this disease, and this is the value of the patent. So I can loan, I can use it as a DeFi. So there is a lot of potential behind intellectual property.
yeah.
People, they don't focus on it because they are intimidated, but it's super
Absolutely.
simple.
Yeah,
It's super simple. It is not anymore for lobby and for elite. It's open for everyone. So in the future, I think two things, and I love what you're sharing about the natural medicine, and I
right.
love your knowledge. Last time we had the pleasure to talk about it, and I'm still impressed by your knowledge about it. I think it's important to be have consciousness, and be aware by how we think, what kind of data we are looking for, what is our strategy to get our freedom. And
Yeah,
blockchain is the unique way, in my opinion, to give us the ability to build our own society without depending about, you know,
right,
elite or politician, with all
right.
respect.
Yeah, yeah. The best way to make a process go bad is to involve governments. I've always said that, but it's just some people just accept things as the way they are, and I think we need people like us to challenge the status quo and why things aren't the way.
Yes.
Why can't we have more freedom, more liberties? I mean, that's really the core of what it is, right? And the core of what our purpose is. So and technology is so powerful when harnessed the right way. When not
Yes.
harnessed the right way, we end up with things like we see right now with like, Meta and Google and these big conglomerates that basically control and gatekeep everything. Um, but just imagine if, everyone had equal access. Uh,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
So
100%.
Sam, as we start to wrap up, man, let's definitely want to give the audience a chance to follow you and find out more about what you're doing. So, what's the best place for them to follow BipQuantum, Flip Flop, and also yourself as well?
Sure, with pleasure. So, of course, I will give you all the links, the link tree for that. So, BipQuantum is under www.bipquantum.com. Artesio.com also is available free, again, 100% free. And myself, they can reach me under LinkedIn or probably Twitter or Telegram. I'm totally open. The idea is to ask anyone to join, right? Because what we're building today is something bigger than us. And my mission as a nano-human being is to leave a legacy to the new generation and to contribute to disrupt the intellectual property licensing. Because today, all the government spending hundreds of billions of dollars between China, US, and Europe for AI supremacy. But without IP, AI will keep copying each other, right? So we need to build a standard
Oh yeah,
about IP and what is the difference between copying and innovating. And I'm pretty confident for the next 2 years, we're going to see a big shift
yeah,
for everything. So anyone is, I'm open for any comment, any support, any test to support the platform. And if anyone have a patent catalog or a copyright and would like to try our technology, please feel free to contact me. We are here to push and to change the process.
oh definitely, absolutely. And you said something very important earlier. And I would challenge anybody listening to follow, even if you haven't had an interest before in IP. You're right; it's so important. I mean, and what you just said about how AI is just basically going to be. I mean, AI is trained on models; it's copying. So even without someone blatantly infringing on your intellectual property, it could happen inadvertently, someone not even realizing it. Which you mentioned could lead to potential for collaboration if you go through that process. And people have been intimidated by it in the past. Either it's too hard to understand and it's too costly to secure. So you solve those problems. So I challenge everybody to follow you and keep up with
Thank
what's
you.
going on. Sam, any last words before we wrap up?
And thank you so much. I'm really happy to have this call with you and big up and respect for you, all the hard work you're pushing, right? You're building the interoperability and the financial ecosystem, which is huge. And yeah, this podcast is a proof of your mission. It's going well. So, man, I'm happy. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for that.
Definitely, man. Thank you for all the insight and wisdom you shared today and joining. It's been great connecting with you. And both times we ran into each other, ironically, both in Miami. Neither one of us live in
Yes.
Miami, but both times have been in Miami. But great conversation. And I think we outside of this, there's some things we could explore too, in terms, especially on the IP tokenization front as well too, because that's what we're focusing to. One of the companies I help is we're looking to help drive tokenization and drive the awareness of what that can do, which is kind of our same mission: make it more accessible to people, more open, lower the barrier of entry, and make systems less complicated, remove the gatekeeping from those people that just benefit from gatekeeping. I call it, it's kind of like card payment providers, right? I call them vampire industries. They don't really do much, but they just suck out a fee every time you use them, right? So
True. True.
uh, it's like we gatekeep you and then we charge you a fee.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love the analogy. Yeah, man. I'm sure there's potential collaboration, and man, let's keep the conversation going.
yep, absolutely. All right, Sam. Thanks again for joining us today,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you
For
so much.
Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.